Hi Stampers, this is Kim with Great Inspirations. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to take an in-detailed look at a brand new bundle from Stampin' Up called Everyday Details. Now it's been a while since I've done an in-detail video, so let me just remind everyone what that is. We will look at the bundle, which in this case is a stamp set and a set of dies. And I will kind of talk you through what I found out about the stamp set while using it, and also the dies while using them, and maybe present to you a little bit different look at those two products than what you might see in the catalog. And that's simply because in the catalog they only have so much space. Sometimes the dies are shown rather small. It's sometimes hard to make out detail, and the same can go for the stamps. So I like to do these videos called In Detail, where we will take, as I said, a detailed look at a stamp set and a die, or set of dies, or whatever may be in that bundle. It could be a punch. And I will share some sample cards that I have made with those products. As always, there will be a corresponding blog post to this video, and the link to that blog post will be in the description of this video. So let's get on with this look at the Everyday Details bundle. Now, this bundle includes this stamp set, which has 4 images. It has this vase or pot, whichever you care to call it, with a floral image, and a teacup with a floral image, and this bird's nest with some eggs, and this little stamp that you can use for some detail or for some texture. But this stamp also mimics a design that's in one of the dies, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then there are, of course, some greetings. You make every day a little brighter, overjoyed for you in this new journey, and wishing you so much joy on this special day. Now, I like these greetings because, yes, they're a specific greeting, but they can be used for various occasions. For example, wishing you so much joy on this special day. That could be for a birthday. That could be for a wedding. That could be even for a graduation, a christening, and on and on. And overjoyed for you on this new journey. Again, could be at a graduation. It could be if you have a new job, a wedding, several other occasions, even retirement. And you make every day a little brighter. Now, you could use that on a birthday card, a hello card, a thank you card, an encouragement card. That's why I like these greetings. They're not specifically for one occasion. So these, of course, are the images, and as we know, they're in black and white, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I do like to stamp them out in different colors just to get a feel for each stamp, and also to just see, ooh, I like that color with this stamp or that stamp, or I don't. So this just, by doing this, it just gives me more of an idea of what I might like to do with the stamp set. Now, this stamp set is a cling stamp set, and there are 7 stamps included. And cling means it's red rubber, and it has the little sticker you can put on the back if you like, or leave it off, that's up to you. And then they will cling to your acrylic blocks. So there are those. Like I said, there's 7 of them. And then we have the dies, the Everyday Detail dies, and there are 11 dies. Now, this little die right here, actually there are 2 of them. And I told you that this little stamp right here mimics one of the designs in the dies, and that's this die right here. It's kind of like 5 little dots, like, you know, 2 on each side and then in the middle. I don't know if any of you remember when you were learning to count, and they had the flashcards, the little number flashcards, and they would have the little dots. Well, that's what that reminds me of, because that's exactly how it was. For number 5, there were 4 dots and then 1 in the center. So that's just kind of what that reminded me of, and I got kind of tickled when I saw that. But these other dies do some fun things. This die right here will cut out, let me get my sheet here, this. But what it leaves on your paper is this. So here we go. So it die cuts this, but then on the piece of paper that you've die cut the rectangle from, it will leave this nice little dotted border. So you could in effect use both pieces on cards. Now, this one, it doesn't, if I can get it off the magnet, it doesn't cut holes. It just leaves a little dot that sort of looks like paper piercing, and we have that a lot in a lot of the Stampin' Up! Dies. So here are the rectangle ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is what they will cut out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course you would have this from that largest die. Now we'll move on to these, the circles, and there are 4 of them, and the smallest one is just like the smallest rectangle. It has like the paper piercing dots. But here are those circles, and yes, it's not the largest one this time, but it's the second largest. It's exactly like this rectangle. It will cut out this circle, but it also will cut out this frame right here. So that's kind of fun. And then we have this that puts a nice design in your paper. And then here is the one, this one. This is what that looks like. And then, as I said, there are 2 of them. So I just put them side by side, and this is the design I got. So these are some options, what you can die cut with these dies. But then I just took these 4 dies and put them on some cardstock, and just like this, ran them through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and made these frames. Now I had to redo this one because I had an issue. I got the side of the paper stuck in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. However, this is what all those frames looked like. Then I did the same with the circles, and look at this one. I loved the way that came out with the 2 rounds of the circles. So that for me was a surprise, but it was a very pleasant surprise. Now, you might be thinking, ooh, that's a lot of little dots there. Are they all going to die cut? And yes, they will. And for the most part, every one of them, for my die cut piece, every one of these little circles came out. I had to use my take your pick tool with the paper piercing in. I only had to use it maybe on 5 or 6 of these. I mean, on all of these. I didn't have a problem. But on the dies, I I did have a problem. I had a lot of cardstock building up in these little dots. So that is where your little brush and the foam mat comes in, and I simply put my die, turn it upside down, put it on the mat, and I kind of went at an angle just because that seemed to be what worked the best, and I just went like that, and all the little dots came off. There were a few I had to take the pokey tool and poke them out, but not many. Most of them came off just using this brush and the foam mat. Now, what I did was, I had all these little dots on here. I took this to my trash can, stuck it in the trash can, and kind of beat it against the side of the trash can. All those dots came off. Now, another thing that happened, sometimes the dots would stay on my cutting plate on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Those were hard to get off because some of my cutting plates are well loved, let's say. They have some wear to them. And it was really hard to, I took my plate and kind of knocked it against the side of my trash can. It worked, sort of, but not very well. So what I did, if you have an old credit card, an old gift card, or if you're like us and get these things through the mail all the time from New Day USA, or, offering you other, credit card offers or whatever, they are really good to just take, and I forgot to bring my plate over here, but just take your cutting plate over the trash can and scrape. And boy, that does a really great job cleaning these little tiny dots off of your cutting plates. So that's just a little tip there for you. So again, I do highly recommend you have one of these die cut brushes and a pokey tool. This is the take your pick tool, and this is one of the little accessories you can get to go on it as well, and it does come with one of these little foam mats, and that did come in very handy for this set of dies. Now, the other thing I do like about this set of dies, I really like the images on this stamp set, but honestly, I almost didn't get it. But then the more I looked at it and looking at the greetings and realizing how many different occasions these greetings could be used for, I decided to go ahead and get the bundle, because in all truth, these dies can stand on their own, and they, like I said, they just make such neat frames and just maybe great mats to stamp on, or just matte images on them. So and I do like this design as well. So I decided to just get the bundle. And I don't know, but like I said, if you did not care for the stamp set or just felt like it wasn't something you needed in your collection, you don't necessarily need the stamp set and the dies. And I think the dies stand alone quite well. And honestly, I think the stamp set stands alone quite well, and there are other dies that you could use with this if you wanted. So I'm going to put these things away for just a moment here, and we'll take a peek at the cards that I made. So here we go. This was the first one I made, and I really got one of those little black dots in there. Okay, there we go. So I really liked this image, but in the Stampin' Up catalog, and I will show you, the catalog is now live, so I can open it and show you the picture of the card. Let's see, right here. This card right here, I loved how they used the baker's twine and just stitched around this frame. you know, on the little holes that had been made by the die. So I thought, well, I can do that. It's just a running stitch. I can do that. And if any of you have sewn, oops, almost fell off of my little step here. If any of you have sewn or embroidered, you're familiar with a running stitch. It's almost a little bit like basting, only it's hard to baste on a piece of paper. But I thought, I can do that. So I will show you how I did that. And then I went to this card. It's been a while since I made a black and white card. So that's what I decided to do with this one. And again, on that corresponding blog post, that is where you will find the supply list and cutting measurements and all that for these cards. So you don't, you know, that's where you will find those. So you don't have to worry about trying to remember or writing them down. That's where they'll be. And anyway, I thought, oh, well, let's just try another stitch. And I was somewhat successful. There's some places where I didn't stitch as tightly as I should have, but this is a back stitch. And I will also show you how I did that. Then I went on to the little bird nest, and I decided, no, what if I wanted to send this to a man? Well, let's make it a little more masculine, and so instead of the stitching, I just put mats behind the dots, and then the color comes through. And I kind of like that too. So anyway, I'll move these over here out of the way a little bit, and I'm going to get my little frame here. So this is some very vanilla cardstock. I thought that would be a nice light color and contrast well with the black baker's twine. So for this one, I need to decide where I wanted my bow. Well, I decided I want it in the corner. Now if you want it up here, that's fine, but wherever you want it, you are going to, and I'll just start in the corner, put your needle with the baker's twine through, and then you need to leave a tail, because this is what you're going to use to tie the bow, and you're going to go all the way around, and when you get to here, there should be another tail so you can tie them together to make the bow. And the way I knew how long to make my baker's twine was I simply measured from here to here, from here to here, here to here, and here to here. Added those numbers up, and then I added, depending on, you know, how good you are at tying a bow and how long you want the tails, but I added, I believe, 7 inches times 2, because 7 for this tail and 7 for this one. So that made 14. Now the exact amount of baker's twine I used to create this card, that will be on that blog post. So anyway, we've got our baker's twine in there. We're going to just hold this in place. And we're just going, remember we went through the top down. Now we're going through the back up, top down, up to the next one, pull it up, go down, up, and down. And you just continue all the way around till you get to this one. And if this, hopefully you will be coming up like this. If you're not, it's okay. If you're going down like this, just come over to this one. They'll be able to share a space. It will be all right. They can share the space and you can still tie your bow. So that is how I did this running stitch. Now for this one, for that back stitch, we're just going to pull this right out, So what I did was pick where you want to start. Again, I'm going to start here, but I go up the one above it. And then I am going to secure this little tail, at least temporarily. So let me get a little piece of tape. Here we go. And you can use a sticky note. You can use some light tack tape, and that's okay for now if that's hanging over. So we're there. Now it's called a back stitch because you're up here and then you go back. Oops. I may have to start over. I got all tangled up. There we go. Nope, that's not good. There we go. And then we go on the next one. And then you go back into the one you just came out of. And then to the one above. And then we go back. And to the one above. And back. And you just do that all the way around. Now on this one, of course, it was a circle. So in my mind, it was probably a little bit easier than the rectangle, but it's not going to be all that much harder. But you just keep going on around. And then when you get to the end, you will go into this one and then back into this one. And then you're going to cut off your twine and secure it on the back. And then you trim all this, make sure everything's secured, and you're good to go. Now, I chose to use, got a little raveling there, I chose to use what they're called yarn darners because the eye of these needles are large enough for some yarns to fit through, and they come in with eyes that are even bigger than this. But so basically a darning needle, a yarn darner, and the sizes are 14/18, and it's written on the package like 14/18. Now I don't know that much about, like right there, needle sizes and all, but I'll show you the ones that I have. This is the package I have right here, and there were, I believe, 5 in here, so I think I have another one actually with my crochet stuff. But anyway, I chose the one that the twine went through the easiest, and also I wanted to make sure that the whole needle would fit through the holes. And so with this package, I'm not sure about this larger one, but the others did, but this was the one that the baker's twine went through the most easily, and just made it easier for me to do the stitching on the paper. Now, did this take a little time? Yes, it did, but practice a little bit, and then once you get the hang of it, it goes fairly quickly. Now, as far as where you can get these yarn darners, well, you can get them probably anywhere they sell sewing notions, but I looked, and I hope you can see this on my iPad. Here, these are the ones they have. This is a Hobby Lobby, and see, there's that that size of 14, 18. And these were, there were 7 in here, and they were, well, it's kind of blurry, huh? And they were $1.99. I also saw that you can get some on Amazon. I don't remember how many needles, but they were approximately the same amount, and they were $1.95. As you can see, my pack came from Walmart, and they were 57 cents, but this probably came from my mother's sewing basket, and so it's very hard to say how long she'd had these. And as you can see, their listed price was 75 cents. But anyway, that's what I used, and I have sewn on cards before. So when I saw that in the catalog, I just thought, oh yeah, I want to do that. I can do that. And so that's what I did. So anyway, here again are those 3 cards I made with the Everyday Details stamp set and dies. Now, as a lot of you know, this is also the time of year when Stampin' Up! Has Sale-a-bration. And if you do not know, Sale-a-bration is what's going on right now. Start January 4th, and it will go through February 29th. And for every $50 of Stampin' Up! Product that you purchase, and that excludes shipping and tax, you can select a free item from the Sale-a-bration Brochure or Sale-a-bration Catalog, whichever you care to call it. It's getting, I think, bigger every year. And here that is. So instead of trying to do videos on all the different stamp sets and dies that I have to show you, or the stamp sets and the punches, and then do the Sale-a-bration, since Sale-a-bration is such a short period of time, I thought at the end of each video I would show you a card that I made using some of the products in the Sale-a-bration Brochure. And so today I'm going to show you, I have this stamp set right here, which is called Watercolor Melon. So for the card that I created to show you, I use that. As you can see, there's all kinds. There's a stamp set. Here's some Designer Series paper, more Designer Series paper, ribbon, another stamp set, more paper, some gems, and then here is the most adored 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. I also used that on the card that I will show you. And then I also used the Heartfelt Hellos stamp set. It's just greetings, and it coordinates with the Heartfelt Hexagon Punch, which you can find in the current mini catalog. It has another coordinating stamp set in there. And then there is more Designer Series paper, and this paper right here happens to coordinate with the Trusty Tools bundle, which is also in the current mini catalog. Then we have this little set of little critters. It's called Jungle Pals. And the other day when I showed my pre-order, I couldn't remember what this little critter was. As soon as I recorded my video, I remembered it was a lemur. And so I wrote that right there so I won't forget that that's a little lemur. And of course a sloth, a toucan, a crocodile, or an alligator, depending on what your needs may be, and a little tiger. Now all those things that I just mentioned you can get with the $50 purchase of Stampin' Up! Products. And then we transition to, if you want to spend $100, you can get this little die set called Jungle Pals, which coordinates with a stamp set. So basically, if you do a $150 order, and of course you know you get Stampin' Rewards with that, but you can also choose the Jungle Pals stamp set and then also the dies for free. And then we have the Softly Sophisticated bundle, which is a stamp set and an embossing folder. And that bundle is free with a $100 purchase. And then this detailed dogwood stamp set is very pretty, a lot of stamps, and it is also free with a $100 purchase. So that is the offerings for Sale-a-bration. And I will show you. Here is the card I made, and this is with the watercolor melon. And then now the watercolor melon, I have that stamp set right here. It's right here. It has some pieces or slices of watermelon, the rind, the seeds, leaves from the watermelon vine, and then a whole watermelon. It coordinates with the modern oval punch, which is a punch that was offered in the Stampin' Up! Mini from September through December, the one that just retired. So if you have this modern oval punch, then this might be a Sale-a-bration item you would want to select because it does coordinate. There's also in the new Mini a stamp set that coordinates with this punch. So this is where I got the images from the watercolor melon. And then the Enjoy Your Day comes from the Heartfelt Hellos. There, Enjoy Your Day. And this coordinates with the Heartfelt Hexagon punch. And this punch is in the new Mini. And there is a stamp set in the Mini catalog that also coordinates with it. So a lot of coordination going on here. But honestly, I do think also a lot of these greetings, if not all of them, will fit in this modern oval punch as well. So like I say, here's the card. And then this designer series paper, which I didn't bring out my paper, but that's the one I showed you. The Most Adored, right there. There is the design. You can just barely see it. So this is, like I said, a card that I created using the products you can get for free from the Sale-a-bration catalog. I'll just put this one right over here with these cards. And I want to thank you guys for joining me today. This is my first video of 2024, and I have so many more ideas for products that are in the new Stampin' Up! Mini catalog, as well as in that Sale-a-bration brochure. Remember that all the information about these cards, including this one, about the supplies, the cutting measurements, the length of the baker's twine, the embellishments, all of those things will be found on that corresponding blog post. And the link to that blog post is in the description of this video. Until next time, stamp happy!